Oh boy, am I glad I noticed that 30 seconds in. All you missed was me saying I cosplayed as the Death Star.
It was funnier the first time he said it.
Yeah, it was surprising the first time I said it.
Now it's just... whatever, heard it.
I'm old. My jokes are dated, damn. Anyway, we got out of Star Wars Rogue One. And it's perfectly fine. No,
I would go as far to say a good movie. An excellent science fiction adventure movie. A great Star Wars movie? It's no Empire.
It's the best prequel.
It is easily the best prequel.
It is easily the best prequel.
When we were in the bathroom when we were in the bathroom after the movie, I heard someone behind me go, I don't know, I think that was the worst one ever. And I turned around, and it was like a 15-year-old kid, and I'm like, that's why. Okay. You're an idiot.
Okay, it's like, I have several issues with this movie. I do not think it's one of the best Star Wars movies.
It's in
worst ever.
It's in the top 5.
I would say it's, yeah, exactly. I agree.
I would even put it in the top 4, maybe. There's shit about Jedi that still pisses me off.
I like Jedi way better than this. Granted, yes, I did grow up with Jedi, so there is that whole factor.
There's that bias.
Beyond that, even objectively, I like Jedi way better than this for some pretty heavy issues that I do have with this movie. But
this movie is not flawless by any means.
No.
It's got some... To me, it had one serious, baffling, painful flaw that I could not get over.
Well, before that, you want to get into the positives first?
Okay, the positives, acting's great.
Yeah, stellar supporting cast.
And the 2 leads were fantastic.
I thought one of them was. I'll get into that in my negatives.
Okay. One of the leads was very good, and the other one I thought was fantastic. I thought Old Boy was pretty damn good.
No, he was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some fantastic supporting players in this movie, and that ass-kicking robot, the Imperial bot...
Alan Tudyk, man!
Is that who that was?
That was Alan fucking Tudyk.
God damn, he was good.
And he did motion capture.
Badass. Like, really funny. Like, super funny. Like, he gets most of the jokes in the movie. Like, he most of the humor in it comes from that character. But he simultaneously throws out one-liners like it's nothing. Like, it's... And they... more often than not, they land.
And then, none of them seem terribly forced, which is something that you have a problem with a lot of times with a character that throws out one-liners.
Yeah, none of them seem terribly forced to me. I mean, it's obvious they're putting them in there to kind of liven things up and have some humor to it, but... He could say a joke, and then right after that, do something completely and utterly badass. Whether it would be like taking a stormtrooper and beating another stormtrooper with the stormtrooper in his hand. Yeah. Like, it was super cool. I also love how this looks like a 70s sci-fi movie. Aside from the CGI.
Yeah.
The hairstyle is totally 70s in this.
No, they did a really good... Because, I mean... This movie takes place directly before A New Hope.
Yeah.
The whole plot line is basically, at the beginning of A New Hope, and Leia has the plans to the Death Star. This is getting the plans to the Death Star. That's what this whole movie is.
And because of that, it's like a World War II movie. It's like an Inglourious Bastards.
No, they were storming the beaches in Normandy and shit.
Yeah,
in this.
And that's super cool. That is, I do love that. For this movie, and it ties in. They tie it in really, really well, and this has a fantastic third act.
Great action scenes, and just throwing in great shit like there's AT-ATs and all this other nerdy crap that I grew up with and loved, and like there were moments I was like, that's really cool. But then there are things where it's just like, fuck, why? Like, they found an actress to play Mon Mothma.
Oh, yeah.
Who looked...
Holy shit.
Exactly like, but so much like.
But when you see frame 1 of that character, you know who that is. Exactly. I mean, from the trailer.
You know who it is.
Yeah.
And it's obvious who it is. So my question is, why couldn't they do that with other fucking characters?
With Peter Cushing?
Oh my god. Okay.
That's your fatal flaw of the movie? Or not fatal, but biggest flaw?
It was distracting. Okay, so about a quarter of the way through the movie, you have this scene, and you see this character from the back, and you're catching you know, the outline of the body.
Yeah.
You see the hair, a bit of bald spot. And you're
You
like,
know who it is.
yeah, it's like, oh,
Yeah.
fuck, that's Grand Moff.
Yeah.
And it's like, cool. I'm wondering, how are they going to play this? Peter Cushing's been dead a long
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Like, how are they going to play this? Like, are they going to have a look-alike? Is it going to be somebody in makeup? And it turns around, and the entire character is CGI. And it's great CGI.
It is.
But at the same time, the Uncanny Valley thing is there. So it looks like a fucking a really good video
Yeah.
game cutaway scene character
Yeah.
interacting with real people.
Uh-huh.
And, CGI characters are great when they're not fucking human.
No, yeah, totally.
And that's the thing. And it's just like, okay, maybe if it's just a one-off, they wanted to show his face and deliver
Right.
a line, we'll let it go. But they kept fucking going back to it.
He's in this quite a bit.
Like 9 or 10 times they go
Yeah.
back to fucking Grand Moff Tarkin, and it's like, motherfucker, you could have done so much better. Like, if you had just got someone who looked a little bit like him, done some prosthetics and some makeups,
Then, yeah.
lit it fucking right, and just
It wouldn't be the first time that a Star Wars movie has used another actor to play a pre-existing character. And they even do it in this very movie.
yeah. And that's the thing. It's like I would have appreciated the effort
Yeah.
and been less distracted by any other option than a CGI rendering of Peter Cushing, whose mouth doesn't move.
Quite right.
Yeah, because it's not terrible, but it's not quite right.
Well, here's the thing. It bothered you more than it did me, but here's why. Being in Chicago the last couple of days, there was a lot of people up there who had already seen this movie. Nothing was really spoiled for me about it, which, to be fair, there's really not that much to spoil about this movie.
No,
but,
there's
like,
not. There's some appearances of characters. That you're
I'll get to that in a second, but but one of the common complaint that everyone was hearing from the word of mouth was how bad that looked and how like distracting the fake Peter Cushing was. So going into this, I was actually expecting a lot worse. Like,
Okay.
I was expecting, like, he's gonna look just as real as Jar Jar Binks. Or like, Jeff Bridges in Legacy. Like, I was expecting, like, that level of Uncanny Valley. And what it was
just slightly distracting.
it was slightly distracting, but then I was expecting...
just enough to take me out of it to think
Well,
about
it's
how off it was.
It was distracting to me in the sense because you're constantly looking for flaws.
No, exactly.
You know?
So, yeah.
Exactly. You're constantly looking for flaws in this effect. Now, by all means, it's not a terrible effect.
No, kudos to the animators. They did a hell of a job. The rendering's really good. It looks like Peter fucking Cushing.
It does, and because of that, if let's say for some reason I didn't know he was dead, or I just don't. Let's just say for some reason I didn't know that was an effect. I don't know if I would have realized it watching it. I would have thought it's there's something off looking about it a little bit.
Right.
But I probably wouldn't have thought it wasn't an actor there on screen or whatever it is they did with it.
However they did, but that's the thing to me is it was they tried their hardest and I'll give them credit for a good effort.
Yeah.
I really will.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, for me, if they had just like if you're gonna do that, make it quick. Like do that one line he was gonna give, and then there was no need to keep going back to him. It wasn't necessary to the plot of the movie.
Now he looked okay. From here on out, we're going to be getting into spoilers. So if
We've already gone into some spoilers.
but like here definitely. So stop here if you're planning on seeing this. He looked better than Carrie Fisher did at the end of this movie.
Okay, yeah. At the end, they open the door. There's this figure in a white hood, and you're like, it's Princess Leia.
We know who
Hand her
it
the
is.
fucking disc. You don't have to show her face.
And
I the whole time I was like, don't turn around. Don't do this again.
And not only does she, but they end it on the worst shot in the movie, and they end it with one of the corniest pandering ass lines in the movie. For a third act that was great until that last 5 seconds. Holy shit, like this is right after we see Darth Vader doing some pretty fucking badass shit, which we haven't seen in a long goddamn time. Yeah. We see him doing badass shit, which was really cool for how much boy, did those prequels really neuter that fucking character horribly. It was nice seeing him doing something really scary and badass. So, and anyway, and also we have that scene of the two main characters on the beach at the end, which is gorgeous, which was a gorgeous, haunting, chilling shot in the movie. And then it ends in this awful Princess Leia thing with this horribly corny line that was part of an issue I have with this movie.
There was a couple real cornball fan service lines that it was like, oh fuck you, man, we've seen the movies. You know, that shit wasn't necessary. Like The Force Awakens had fan service.
It did, but it was part of the plot. It was
or even the stuff that was like straight up fan service was at least like fun. Like Han Solo finally shooting Chewie's fucking bow. At least it was fun.
At least it was, and at least it was like, okay, why wouldn't that happen in this scene? I can buy that this is happening in this scene. In this, I don't need characters saying other characters' catchphrases.
Yeah.
I didn't need C-3PO or R2-D2 showing up to say one thing.
Completely unnecessary. Like, that took me out, too, because and people in the audience were into it, and I was like, but why is it there?
Because it's a midnight screening. Like,
No. I've done this rant before, I'm sure. When you're at a movie, and the movie ends, don't fucking applaud, because nobody who worked on that movie is in the theater with you unless you're at the premiere. If you're at the premiere, fucking applaud. Even if it's bad, applaud. Be nice. I know it's people just like showing their joy.
It is, and this is. It's not like we're
one of those things that annoys me.
It's not like we're seeing this on a Saturday afternoon matinee. It is a pre-screening.
No.
There are people there dressed in costume. Of course, there's going to be applause at the end of it.
I will say, as opposed to every Star Wars movie that I've seen at a premiere, the audience we were with at least kept their fucking mouth shut during the movie.
Absolutely, they did. Yeah.
I remember, this was a long time ago, but it was the second prequel.
Oh, yeah.
And I was at it, I think, with my mother. And when Yoda pulled out his lightsaber, the entire audience in the theater cheered for like 5 minutes. And I was sitting there going, I came here to watch the fucking movie. Shut up.
I saw that on the midnight screenings, and when that happened, I didn't know what to get more mad at. The fact that the movie did that, or the fact it was getting applause. Fuck. I'm so angry. I was just sitting there like, I kind of just want this movie to end. Fuck.
Well, and that's what the prequels were good at, was just
me wanting them to end.
just destroying the mystique of something that was special because it had mystique.
Yeah.
You know?
And this movie doesn't ruin any kind of mystique.
No, it doesn't. It just it feels like a natural.
No, it does.
Like the prequel should have been this.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Like if this had come out, like when the prequels came out, I would have been just like, fuck yeah, keep making more, George.
Yeah, keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. Oh, the part where like Ponda Baba shows up with the other character, you know, he doesn't like you, I don't like you. When those two showed up,
okay, how the fuck did they? Because the progression of this movie, it's like, okay, it's cool to see those characters.
It wasn't for me. I was like, come on, don't do that. That was another part where I was like, I don't need that there. That's the kind of fan service I'm not that cool with. Sure, sometimes it can be integrated fine, and a quick thing like that can be integrated fine into something. Like, yeah, I'm sure I can think of an example where something like that has worked fine. In this particular case,
no,
I didn't need that.
You know, if they had been on Tatooine, I'd be like, hey, that was fun.
Were they not on Tatooine?
No.
Oh.
They were on another planet that later that day got blown up by the Death Star. So how did those characters make it to fucking Tatooine when the Empire blew that fucking planet to shit?
They're the Empire's version of R2 and C-3PO. They're giving evil plans to somebody else. Now, okay, if that spins off into something about those two, like, okay, well, I guess he set it up perfectly fine in this film. I did like seeing Oh, sorry. What were you gonna say?
It's like that would be a fun like buddy scumbag movie.
Yeah, you know, I'd be like, all right. Well, I
one
guess,
of them you can't understand.
yeah, I guess that little fan service thing there was all right. Then you kind of set it up for it. You got me. Movie.
That one didn't bother me as much as like the R2D2 and C3PO one, because that one was just out of fucking nowhere. And like the other one that fucking killed me, like I was excited at first. Fucking Jimmy Smits is in this movie.
Yeah, I had no problem with that.
And that was great, because it actually tied things in nicely to, sadly, the prequels.
Sure, yeah.
But it tied things in nicely, and I'll give him credit for doing that.
Yeah.
But he has a line where they're like, entrust this information to someone. And he's like, oh, yes, I trust her with my life. It's like, dude, no, don't do that. Like, and don't say that. Like, with that shit-eating grin, you know that was the one line Jimmy Smits is like, fuck it, I'm just phoning it in.
Phoning it in. I got a couple lines. I'll do what I can, and then
Yeah.
I'll get back to the set of, is he on any show now? I love Jimmy Smits.
I do, too. He's great.
Yeah, Jimmy Smits is awesome.
Like, I see Jimmy Smits in anything, I smile for a second. I'm like, fuck
Yeah.
Jimmy Smits.
Fuck yeah, that season of Dexter he was
Yeah.
on, he was great.
Oh, the last couple seasons of West Wing.
Yeah, NYPD Blue.
Yeah.
Fucking love Jimmy
Smits
Smits.
is great.
No, it was cool seeing him pop up in this. But yeah, I kind of thought that too. What you just said. But a huge issue that I have with this movie, I really didn't give a fuck about Felicity Jones. Not even a little bit. I thought she was nothing. I thought she was wooden. I thought there was nothing interesting about this character. Like, at all. There was no humor. There was no charisma. There was no charm. There was no intimidation. There was no badassness, no coolness, nothing. And I don't need all of those things, but I need one of those things.
I didn't think she was bad by any means.
She's too wooden to be bad in this film.
I didn't even think she was wooden.
Oh, God.
I just...
It was a nothing. There was nothing about that character.
No, there really wasn't. It was one of those. It was an ensemble movie where like a couple of the supporting characters, like the two Asian fellas, who were great,
Yeah.
but they were ridiculous, and that's what made them great. Like,
Yeah.
like let's throw in a fucking blind Japanese warrior,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, and that's the thing, because
like, and those characters that could easily be cliched as fuck, but those
Sure.
actors made them interesting. And,
yeah,
like, and
every character in this movie was interesting but her. She is literally upstaged by everything she acts opposite against in this movie.
And I can see where you're coming from with that, and I think it's mostly because everything she acts against in this movie was really good.
It's not that there is nothing to this character, even if this character was just its own thing. Look, compare
With
movies.
this character's backstory, I do think they needed an actor that could emote a
Exactly.
little bit more, because
Something.
this character had a couple moments where like some serious emotion really would have been great.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't think she's a bad actress.
No, she's not a bad actress
I wasn't
at all.
upset by the performance, and I didn't think about that watching the movie, but now that you've mentioned it, yeah, she was a little stiff.
Yeah, I was thinking about that constantly, because that was the one thing that was not pulling me into the first 2/3 of this movie. If there was something there, a character, like, I could have been pulled into everything that's going on.
Because there's like a scene where, like, by all means, that character should be righteously angry.
Righteously angry, or some...
But she's just kind of schoolmarm lecturing, you know?
Yeah, that... And even in the action scenes she has, every other character has action scenes a million times better than hers, a million times more badass. And think about every movie that's like this, every World War II movie that's kind of like this. Nearly every single one of them that you can think of has a lead character in an ensemble cast that's a million times better than this character.
No, yeah, it's yeah, you're right. She kind of was the weak link in the acting. I don't once again, I don't think she was terrible.
She wasn't.
But
She
when
wasn't
you compare
terrible.
her to some of
but-
the other performances in it, where you have, I don't even know the guy's name, but the guy who was the captain was fucking charismatic as holy shit.
Yeah, he is great.
And I was like, I knew going in, I was like, okay, based on where this movie's going and what they're doing, everyone's gonna die.
And I that's one thing I love about this movie.
Everyone fucking
yes,
dies.
They went for it in terms of
Yeah.
that. and the ending scene is with the two characters that are the last ones to go is so gorgeous, and so it is so emotional that in that moment, in that one moment, it's the only moment in the movie where I was legitimately sad to see these two people go, largely just because of the filmmaking.
Yeah.
Not so much that, oh man, she's not going to be in any more of these. It was gorgeous filmmaking. Yeah. And the other dude was so good here.
Yeah. And then she's got scenes with fucking Alan Tudyk is this amazing robot character.
Yeah.
And Donnie Yen?
I think.
Yeah. The blind guy? Donnie Yen.
He was great in the movie.
Yeah. I might have that name wrong, and I apologize. I am so physically and emotionally tired right now.
Why?
Stay at home, Dad!
I've seen Mr. Mom. Your life should be hilarious.
Today, my daughter pooped so hard, it came out of the diaper, up the back, to her shoulder blades.
That was me.
While I was
hungover.
holding her on my chest. So she shat between us.
Yeah, well, you can blame her all you want, but I paid her $20 to do that.
Takes after her daddy.
You know who should have been the main character in this? Guy Pearce's character from Lockout. Tie that into this. How amazing would this movie be?
I love Lockout.
I enjoy the hell out of Lockout.
Escape from New York in space.
Fucking space? Yeah, with Guy Pearce?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Guy Pearce is one of those guys that's like every time he's in a movie, even if it's like the smallest fucking thing, I get excited because it's fucking Guy Pearce.
Me too. Oh, I wish this had Guy Pearce in it. You know what? In the first 2/3 of this movie where I was kind of iffy about it, honestly, which, to tell you the truth, is about how I was in Gareth Edwards' last fucking movie.
Oh, Godzilla.
Yeah.
Which I really liked that Godzilla movie, but my thing was just like, oh man, Cranston was such a better character than...
Like, yeah, the people who cut the trailer thought so too. Gareth Edwards' Godzilla, solid third act. Bullshit first 2 acts. I didn't think the first 2 acts of this movie were bullshit, but the last act is far and away better than the first. You know what I was thinking a lot during the first 2 acts of this film? I was sitting there quite a bit going like, this isn't bad. It's iffy, but I was thinking like, this feels like if you were to take the best scenes here in the first 2/3 of this movie, you could probably use them as cut scenes in a really kick-ass video game. Like, this would be a good... It's sort of like they didn't really make the game, they just kind of turned it into a movie. It kind of feels like we should be playing this like 20 years ago on the N64, and we should be playing as Dash Rendar. Like,
Dash Rendar.
You know? I kind of want to see that movie. Make Shadows of the Empire. The first 2/3 kind of felt that way to me, and because of that,
I thought that the first 2/3 were passable. I felt like they were building to something, and that was the thing. It was just kind of like, I think I went into this movie with the understanding of basically what the idea of the storyline is. They're getting the plans for the Death Star, and I was like, okay, so they're building up to something big. Mm-hmm. You know, I kind of figured that's what was gonna happen. You know,
I'm glad it did.
Yeah.
Because we got a kick-ass climax here.
Yeah.
When those Star Destroyers crash into each other,
oh yeah,
there is some drop-dead gorgeous effects work in here.
No, like the space battles in this were far and away, I think, honestly, the best space battles in any of the Star Wars movies.
It's up there, man.
Yeah.
It's
like
way up there.
The dogfighting in this one's fantastic.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, they did some stuff that you hadn't seen before.
Yeah.
No.
Oh yeah, like seeing a planet get demolished from the point of view of people on that planet.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was gorgeous. Because of everything about this movie that I feel works, and when it works really fucking well. There was a large portion of this movie where I was sitting there like, this is pretty good, but I would probably, if I was at home watching this, I'd feel perfectly fine. And there was a point where I was like, I think I'm kind of just recommending this as a rental. But then when it really was kicking in and got to these moments that I thought truly were great in this film, it bumped it up for me to say, like, this is at the least worth a matinee screening for this movie.
I would say go see it. Pay
Well,
full price and go see it. Because for me...
I mean, for me, I'm mainly talking for me. Like, look, this is a critic-proof movie. You've already made up your mind whether you're going to pay full price to see this or not. And you know what? Go for it. Fine. There's nothing wrong with paying full price to go see this movie. For me, personally, what I loved about this movie mixed in with what I really didn't like about it and what I thought were kind of misses about the movie, I think it's an absolutely really solid matinee flick.
Yeah, and my thing is I'm torn between, the absolute utter fucking geek that I am.
Yeah.
and the point where we're at in doing these reviews from 3 years ago, I feel like I was probably a lot more lenient on everything. But now I feel like it's the job is to be critical. So, like, even if I like something, I'm looking for flaws.
Yeah.
Just so I have something to talk about.
I
You know?
I don't know if I mean, I do that when I'm writing for the Snob, of course, but like...
There's sometimes I just get lost in shit and enjoy the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Like, we've watched some terribly flawed movies that I've been like, I'm done looking for flaws because I'm fucking in.
Yeah, and
like,
that's...
Best Man Holiday.
Oh, hell yeah.
Was terrible. That movie was objectively fucking terrible. I would watch that again tonight.
Yeah. That's how me and Brian are whenever we go see shit like When the Bow Breaks.
Yeah.
Like, you know what, when I'm probably more lenient now than
See,
I used to.
I feel like I'm much less lenient now.
I think I'm more lenient now, even though I've really always been, like, I just want to go to the movies and have a good time. Like, I don't really go in a lot, like, just with, like, a critic helmet on or anything like that. Sometimes I do, of course, everyone does sometimes, but, like, usually it's just sort of like, I want to enjoy myself here.
Well, and I think the thing is that for me, the critic helmet comes on more when it's something that I'm inclined to really like.
Oh, no, that's true. Yeah,
when it's something like Star Wars.
Yeah.
I'm watching the Star Wars movies since I was a kid. I collected the action figures. I read a bunch of comic books and books and shit. Like,
well, that's just having standards, That's having good standards. Yeah. That's what you should. You should have good standards when you go see something, especially something that's like this, something that we grew up watching ever since we were kids. But I think I'm a little more lenient now in the sense that we do, or at least, well, you go see more movies now than you used to a few years ago, theatrically. I certainly do. I'm at like 3-some movies a week, so I maybe there are times when I'm a little more lenient because I've seen like the 50 Shades of Blacks, all of that, and you too with the religious movies and shit like that, which is
Medea and Tyler Perry
and
some of the like half the movies we're gonna see next month, like and that's and part of me like it makes me appreciate it when I see something good more.
It does me too.
And when something's overwhelmingly good and has a few flaws, I'm really willing to overlook those few flaws and enjoy the fuck out of something really good.
Yeah.
Well, it's, like if I hadn't seen 20 terrible movies already before we saw it, like something like, Neon Demon, I might have found a lot more flaws in.
Maybe.
I enjoyed that movie so fucking much.
That movie is totally my cup of tea, so I probably still would have loved it anyway.
Well, it was kind of mine too, because it was just enough exploitation into the artness.
Yeah.
I was like, this is like
it was great.
Brad's like milieus just combined.
Hell yeah.
Our interests were scissoring during that movie.
Right there in front of the film, and Keanu Reeves was filming it.
Yeah.
His shady ass character in that movie.
But for this movie, like, I will say the geek in me took over for a lot of it and was willing to overlook a lot of the weak points because I was honestly enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
I was honestly enjoying the movie. And you're right, the lead actress was a little weak, but at the same time, everything else that was happening around her for the most part,
And that's true.
I was really into, so I was willing. It didn't really register at the time. Now that I think back on it, yeah, she was a little wooden. But everyone else was great.
Everyone else was great, and for me, that made it stand out more that she was.
See, for me, that was distracted from it.
Yeah,
You know,
and I can see that. I can see why that would happen. But I mean, us seeing so many movies, like what you said a second ago, it does make you appreciate hardcore when we get like the Hell or High Waters and the things like that, and Moonlight. And,
and Moonlight was. I know we reviewed that the other week.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that movie for a week, and it's just like, fuck, that was a really good movie.
damn good.
Like, and it had flaws too.
Sure.
Yeah, but at the same point, it's like that's one of those movies that people are gonna like teach about.
I feel that way about because a day or two ago I saw La La Land, easily one of the best movies I've seen this year. And yeah, it's good movies, mediocre movies, bad movies. It's great coming out to the theater every week.
Well, and that's kind of the joy of December too.
Yeah.
Is for 12 months we go see every piece of shit that comes to town, and in December, oh, it's Oscar season.
That's true.
It's like
that's very true. So coming up next is Collateral Beauty. No, I know. I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Like, it's Oscar season,
right?
And everything.
So like even if I don't get to see it in the theaters, at least I know a lot of the movies that I want to see are coming out.
Silence is coming out before too long, I think.
Silence, I've been looking forward to since. It's okay. One of my favorite movies of all time is The Mission.
Oh, the De Niro,
Yeah.
That was, hell yeah.
Easily one of my favorite movies of all time. And it seems like Silence is going to be Scorsese's kind of version of The Mission.
Yeah.
But in Japan. And part of me just that concept alone is fucking amazing.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be 18 hours long, but it's gonna be great.
I don't care.
I don't care either. Like, I'm down. I'm so sold. I'm so sold on that. I hope it comes to town. I don't know when that's. Oh, dear.
Sorry, guys, it got dark for a second. My wife is texting me, and I have to.
Oh, we can wrap things up. You have any final thoughts about this?
Yeah, it's good. Go see it.
Yeah, it's good. Go ahead. Sorry.
Nothing is ever going to be the original trilogy. Like, as a Star Wars nerd, nothing is ever going to be those three movies. But if you're expecting someone else to like take the reins and make these movies and try and make them good, honestly, I think the last two, I think Disney's found a good formula.
Yeah.
And I'll give them fucking so much credit for this. I know this is part of a franchise, but this is not a franchise in itself. Like, this movie had a definite fucking end.
Yeah.
There is no space for a sequel. And anymore, for a major blockbuster movie, that's fucking ballsy.
That's
and
true.
I give them so much credit.
I do too. It's one of my favorite things about this movie.
Yeah.
It absolutely is. It's part of why I think the last act of this movie is so great. For all the problems that I have with this movie, it's good. It is. There's things about it you'll really love. There's things about it that'll annoy you, I'm sure. But like, when it works, it really fucking works. So I mean, overall I recommend the movie. I mean, for me personally, I think it's more of a matinee. But I mean, you're already probably planning on paying full price to see this, and you'll be fine.
Yeah, and you know, no matter what time you see it at, it is it's a Star Wars movie. It's an epic movie with space battles and a big score. And, you know, see it on the big screen.
Yeah.
Because shit like this is what we still have theaters.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, check it out in the theater. Coming up tomorrow, Sarah and I are seeing Collateral Beauty. I honestly can't wait.
My poor fucking wife. My poor put upon wife.
See ya.